Ever since 2018, Tay Keith has cemented himself as one of the top producers in the industry. He's produced for artists like Drake, Travis Scott, Lil Baby, Key Glock, and pretty much everyone in the industry. And unlike many producers who have a few big years and then fall off, Tay Keith has maintained his status as a super producer. And a huge reason is because he brings something to the table that nobody else does.
When artists want to come to me, they don't want some shit they can go get from their own producer. They want some shit they can get from me that they can't get from nobody else.
So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down Tay Keith's iconic sound and try to figure out what it is about his beats that keeps rappers coming back over and over again. In my eyes, the reason that artists keep coming back to Tay Keith's beats is because every time they use one, it becomes a huge smash hit for the clubs. This guy has countless club hits like Look Alive, Sicko Mode, Nonstop, pretty much all of Sexy Red's catalog, and the list goes on and on. And there's a few key elements to these kind of club Tay Keith beats. First off, we've got the tempo, which is typically anywhere from 140 BPM to 160 BPM for that upbeat trap kind of energy without being too fast. There's normally always a catchy bass line, a simple top line melody, and of course some hard-hitting trap drums. So these beats are pretty simple, but they create the perfect canvas for the artist to shine. And a lot of time that catchy bass line sets the foundation for the beat and gives it that club kind of energy. And the best example I can find is on Drake's Nonstop. So I went into the Elements of Trap analog lab bank and I put down this bouncy and catchy kind of bass line. And real quick, one of the cheat codes to making these club kind of bass lines is to use these 3 key notes. So if I put this up into the key of C minor, if you want that club kind of bass line, you want to use these 3 notes. So if I was to start it from scratch, we're at B right here. Let's say I wanted a bass to hit right here and right here. To find those other notes, you want to go down by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for the next one, down 1. And you can also mess with the order of these and then put these up an octave. And then another key thing is you want to mess with the rhythm of these. And now we get something like this. If you use those 3 notes in any scale, you're not going to fail coming up with these clubby bass lines. Also, if you listen to his beats for Sexy Red, you can hear how there's a low bass piano following the bass line.
Tay Keith, fuck these niggas up. DJ Mix,
so I copied our bass line onto a low piano to help fill it out and got this. Another super common sound in Tay Keith's melodies are synth bells, and the most iconic example I can think of is the melody on Sicko Mode.
Yeah! Astro. Yeah. Yeah.
And I've got the perfect thing to recreate this inside of the Elements of Trap preset bank. So I grabbed this cash out bell and I laid down this super simple counter melody. Now, we've got a super great foundation for our melody. But if we go back to the melody on Ski, you can hear that there's some simple higher notes on the piano that really add a bunch of catchiness and energy to the melody.
Tay Keith, fuck these niggas up. DJ Mix,
so I went in and tried to make a bouncy and repetitive top line melody and got this. From here, the melody is pretty much done, and one of the key parts of Tay Keith's sound is simplicity. But just for a second section to fill out the hook a little bit more, I took some inspiration from the ambient strings on First Person Shooter.
Hey, I'm about to.
As you can tell, those strings are super dark and ambient, and I think they're really going to help our melody get that full kind of sound. So I grabbed these FPS strings from the Elements of Trap presets and put down these simple chords to help fill out our melody. So now all the melodic elements are done, but one genius thing that Tay Keith does to add a ton more energy and kind of switch the beat up a little bit without adding any more sounds is to change up the bass line to create different energies for different sections of the beat.
When I holla ski, let me pull up. Crossing and fire, and I fast as fuck. Being clean, but we run dirty. Flying with your boo, yeah, that's my dirty.
So for a second section, I switched up the bass pattern a little bit to have the bass notes hitting a little higher up to give it some more energy. Copied that onto the piano and got this. The last thing I wanted to do to create an ear-catching intro section was add some Memphis vocals like the ones you can hear on Drake's Nonstop. So I came up with a super simple and catchy chant, and then I recorded myself screaming it in my room a bunch of times layered together, so it kind of sounds like a block party was all screaming it at the same time, and this is what it sounds like. Go, go, I want some more, I'ma go, go, put it on the floor, I gotta go, go, I want some more, I'ma go, go, put it on the floor, I gotta. So I bounced that all down into one audio file, added some textures, and then the loop was done. Go, go. I want some more, go, go, put it on the floor, I gotta. And that's sounding fire already, but the most essential part of a Tay Keith beat that makes it a Tay Keith beat are his iconic drums. But before we get into that, if you liked any of the sounds from the loop that we just made, they were all from my new huge Elements of Trap bundle, which has over 2,000 loops, live instrument phrases with stuff like flutes and violins, drums, MIDI, and even a full 4-hour course that you can only get inside of the bundle. So if you want to check that out and get it for over 80% off for a limited time, it's going to be the first link in the description down below. But anyways, let's get back into this beat. Tay Keith's drums are arguably the most important part of his sound. His Memphis style with that simplistic approach to drums is what keeps these rappers coming back over and over. He's mastered the art of leaving the drums simple enough to where the rapper can find a ton of pockets and flows, but the drums still hit hard as fuck and bring the energy that you need to have a smash hit for the clubs. And one of the most important parts of that Tay Keith bounce are his hi-hats. He uses a lot of 16th note rolls, which really add to that Memphis style that he's known for. And like he said himself,
most producers don't have they hi-hats loud. I just have mine loud as hell. That's one of my signature sounds. You hear them hi-hats, you know it's my beat.
So I added some simple hi-hats with 16th note rolls, and I made sure that they were loud as hell. Next up, I wanted to have a snare similar to Nonstop. So I went back into the Elements of Trap drum kit and laid down this snare. And while we're talking snares, one of my favorite things about Tay Keith's production are his 16th note Memphis snare rolls. And a great example of this is on Get It Sexy. So as you can tell, those 16th note rolls are on the hi-hats and the snares, and they're a super crucial part to this Tay Keith kind of bounce. So I grabbed a Memphis Tay Keith sounding snare and put down the super long 2-bar snare roll that has a bunch of those 16th note rolls. Another thing he does to evolve the drums is add on an open hat when he wants the energy to be higher.
If you see me and you tryna see what's up, he wanna fuck with me, then I'ma have him stuck.
So I did the same thing here. The drums are sounding good right now, but it's missing the glue, a kick and an 808. But if you listen to Tay Keith's biggest hits, it sounds like he's not using an 808 at all.
901 Shelby Drive, look alive, niggas came up on this side. Look, ayy, I'm a bar spitter, I'm a hard hitter.
Flying with your boo, yeah, that's my dirty. My sister in the backseat with a 30.
And on others, it sounds like he's using a super subby 808 instead of a really punchy and aggressive one like a Spins 808 or a Zay 808.
Pastor Dawson Sally sending texts, ain't sending kites. Yeah, he say keep.
I'm about to click out on this shit, I'm about to click, whoa. I'm about to
Tay Keith, fuck these niggas
Fuck my baby dad. Fuck my baby dad.
So for this beat, I wanted to make sure I didn't use an 808 that was too aggressive, and I kind of wanted to lean more on the synth bass that we had before. So I grabbed this super deep subby 808, copied the bassline MIDI, and then I added a kick for that Tay Keith knock. From here, the last thing I added was that signature Tay Keith riser. And this is the finished beat.
Go, go, I want some more, go, go, put it on the floor, I gotta go, go, I want some more, go.
I love the snare rolls.
Put it on the floor, I gotta
changed. Just a reminder, every single sound that you heard in this beat was from my new Elements of Trap kit. So if you like this beat, make sure to check it out. I promise you won't regret it. It'll be the first link in the description down below. But that's it for me. Peace.